Welcome back. Labor is pledging to raise $2.4 billion more over forward estimates by increasing the overall tax on gas, essentially gas exports from the country. The industry is relatively welcoming of this. The Greens say raise more money. What does the coalition say? Joining me now is Shadow Resources Minister Susan McDonald. Thanks for your time. So what is your view on this?
Well, Tom, I think that over the last nearly year, the government has made major interventions into the gas market. We've seen less investment certainty. We've seen companies really unsure about whether or not to invest in Australia. That's bad for the country. The resources sector broadly brings in a lot of royalties and company taxes, well-paid jobs, and gas is exactly the same. Paid over $1.2 billion in PRRT 2 years ago, and last year, $1.8 billion in PRRT taxes, which says to me we had something that was working.
So the industry itself has had issues with some of the things Labor has done, but not this. They say totally comfortable with it, happy for it to be passed.
Well, I've just outlined...
They're saying something different to you privately?
Well, I'm saying that we've outlined some of our concerns about the layering of changes and regulatory intervention that the government's been making. The PRRT is going to be a very Pyrrhic victory for the government if there's less investment and less taxes paid. So, you know, I think it's something that we have to understand. We are competing in an international market for these investment dollars. The US, Canada, they're very active in attracting gas investment in particular. Qatar is now a serious player in the market. We've seen two of our potential trade partners in Malaysia and Vietnam take LNG imports, but not from Australia. So, you know, we have to be sure that we are winning in this competition to win
So when you
projects.
say sure, have you asked the industry privately about any concerns they have on this?
Well, industry is asking for less change. They want more industry certainty.
But they don't have an issue with this change. That's accurate.
No, that is they're saying that this is the least bad option, which doesn't ever seem to be a good way to go about government, but that's what they're...
But they also say they're comfortable with it. Wouldn't you just take them at your word and say, well, if they're comfortable, then it's not... Because you said that the concern is affecting investment. They're saying it won't affect investment.
No, they're not saying that, Tom, I think you'll find. I think what they're saying is that that is their under confidentiality agreements, what they have seen. Remember that we have not seen anything yet. The coalition has not been briefed on this legislation. Labor is saying that it's not finalised yet. And so we're keen to engage with the government, but we've not yet been briefed. And so I think it would be ridiculous for us to say that we'd agree to something we'd not yet seen.
What about the principle, though, of raising more money for a budget that is under a lot of strain and has a structural deficit when the industry says it's comfortable with the changes? How do you... Fair enough to say, if there's detail later, I reserve my right to say there's an issue with it. Fair enough. We often ask about detail in journalism.
Yes.
But that principle of raising more money from an industry that seems to be able to take it?
Sure. Well, I think what we're seeing is that this is a timing issue. It's been described as bringing forward taxes. And as I've said, we are happy to work with the government, engage with the government. We have been encouraging the government to come back with looking at approvals processes, reducing of red tape, so that we can see these projects continue to coming to investment certainty and to market.
So you want to trade something for your support? You wouldn't support just the change?
Well, Peter Dutton has been very clear that we are looking to see a more streamlined process, reducing of red tape and approvals processes, so that we can be sure that we are still being considered as a good place for investment. We're seeing projects continuing to come through. We know that gas demand is increasing. It takes time to get these projects from exploration to production. We're running out of time to be a part of this gas peak.
Would it be a good thing, though, if the industry's saying no issue with it, we can raise some more money? I know the coalition likes to talk about being a party of lower taxes. Maybe there could be lower taxes on the rest of us. And we own this resource, after all. That could be a win-win, couldn't it?
Well, Tom, until we've seen the detail, I'm afraid
I understand the detail,
really...
but that broad principle of it.
Well,
so I get the detail, and there might be something in it, and you go, here's the issue, fine. But that broader principle, couldn't that be a win-win?
Well, I think that that's a very broad principle, and I think that the idea of paying less taxes is always a good one. It was one that we pursued very hard in government, was to keep taxes low, to have rebates for low and middle income earners, to bring through the stage 3 tax cuts. These are all things that we absolutely believe in.
Okay.
And I'm having complaints from tradies and low and medium income earners right across Australia as they've just figured out that they're missing out on money in their tax returns this year. They're very unhappy about it.
Well, the low and middle income tax offset, that was something the coalition scheduled to end.
Well, there are lots of things that are budgeted and it's up to the government of the day to decide what you do with it. And this government decided to end it.
Would have been very inflationary if they kept it.
Well, Tom, that is not the feedback I'm getting on the street.
So hang on, so you think it should have been kept?
I think that's the feedback that I'm getting from the people that I represent, is that they're feeling higher electricity, higher insurance, higher interest rates. And this was just another blow for them.
I've got no doubt that's the feedback.
Yeah.
But it would have been inflationary, wouldn't it?
Well, I didn't come on really to talk to you about it.
No, I know that. It's not on my list of questions.
No, exactly. We've really gone off on a tangent. Yeah.
So, but you think that should have been kept?
Well, I'm just telling you about the pain that people are feeling, and it's just one more impact at the moment.